I am the Director for Collegiate Recruitment and Communication for the College of Arts and Sciences. I would like to welcome you to our virtual open house where you'll learn more about the academics and opportunities available to the students within the Department of Sociology and Criminal Justice in the College of Arts and Sciences. Today, we have faculty and student ambassadors here to speak with you and to answer any questions that you may have about the program or the university. If you do have a question, please enter it into the Q&A box and we will answer those throughout our presentation. Now, I would like to introduce the Director for the Criminal Justice Program, Dr. Kelly McGeever. Dr. McGeever.
Hello, hopefully. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, all right, great. So welcome, I am Kelly McGeever and I am in the Department of Sociology and Criminal Justice. Trying to advance the slide and apparently, okay, here we go. And so I just am so excited to join you. I'm here to talk about our department. So our department is a joint department of sociology and criminal justice. There is definitely overlap between the two majors, but we are two separate majors. So I will be discussing with Dana Brooks, a criminal justice major, Spanish minor, volunteer, RA, works on campus, does a little bit of everything, standout student. She's going to be my student ambassador. Dr. Amanda Friedman will talk about the Department of Sociology and the sociology major, and she will be presenting with Taya Morin-Scata, a great sociology student. And then Dr. Al DiChiara will be joining us and sharing his input through class or through the presentation. Okay, so what I really want to highlight is some of what I think are the great aspects of our major. So we really value learning beyond the classroom. We want students to take what they're learning in the classroom and taking it to the community so they can apply the knowledge that they're learning in the classroom to their jobs, to their internships, and so forth. So there's different avenues that students can choose to pursue. One of the avenues is the study abroad program. So students can do long-term programs for a full semester or a short-term program. And I think one of the real advantages of the study abroad program is that even when you're in a different country, you're still earning credits at the University of Hartford. So they're definitely transferable. You're going to work with your advisor to pick your curriculum and then go abroad, take those classes, come back and apply the new knowledge that you have. So for instance, I have a former student, Rihanna, and she went to Australia for her study abroad experience for a whole entire semester. And she just had such a great time. She took a course in corrections, so focused on Australia prisons. She fulfilled some of her general education electives. She traveled all throughout Australia. She went to New Zealand. She really just immersed herself in the Australian culture. So when she came back to the University of Hartford, she was so excited about the experience and wanted to explore more avenues. So she went to Cuba for a short-term experience. And so I think it was a 10-day program in Cuba and just got that extra experience and cultural immersion. Another way that we try to learn beyond the classroom is with undergraduate research opportunities. So there's different ways that students can pursue these research opportunities. One is an independent path where they create their own research agenda, and another is when they're working with faculty members on research. I think this is a really great way for students that are interested in pursuing graduate studies to get some experience with the research, because they're going to be developing their own survey instruments, analyzing data, and presenting their findings. We have the Center for Social Research on campus. So the director of that center is Dr. Wes Younce. He is in our Department of Sociology and Criminal Justice, and he really likes to incorporate students in our research projects. So for instance, I am working on a project with Wes on identifying and implementing the best practices for recovery homes in Litchfield County, Connecticut. And so we have a great student, Connor Trzynski, who has been working on the project for over a year. Connor has been just a true valuable asset for us. He attends the weekly task force meetings. He takes our field notes and participates in interviews and community conversations. He's doing some background literature review on the academic side to help inform our research. And he's just a real key member of the research team. So that's been great. Typically, we also have 3 to 4 students working on our correctional project. So we have students that are placed for year-long placements in different prisons across Connecticut, primarily Carl Robinson and Osborne Prison in Enfield. So what these students do is they'll go in once or twice a week. They shadow in the addiction services unit. So they're going to shadow counselors. They're going to help run group. They're going to interact with incarcerated individuals. But what I think is a really great thing is there's also a research side. So they are our eyes and ears in the prison, and they're going to recruit individuals to our project. They're going to go through the consent process. They're going to administer the surveys. They come back to the center and enter the data, and we share the findings. So that's been really great. That's been going on for several years. It has been temporarily paused because of COVID, but prisons are real hotspots for the virus, but we're hoping to be back in there in the spring. Other students decide to take a more independent approach and do their own research agenda. So one of the students featured in this slide is Brianna Botu. She is an exceptional student who recently graduated. She served as my preceptor in the first year seminar class. And she was really just interested in the whole research side of the preceptor role and kind of the advantages for first year students to have a preceptor in their class. So she developed her own research agenda. She created a survey, she administered it, evaluated it, and I encouraged her to apply to present her findings at a conference. So she did. We went to Boston for the Eastern Sociological Society annual conference. She presented her findings with a poster session. She got to network with undergraduate students. She talked to graduate students about their programs. We went to paper sessions held by faculty. We tried to get the full conference experience. So I think that was a great opportunity for her. And I'm really appreciative of the college and the university for supporting our students in these research opportunities. So Brianna was able to apply for funding through the Dean's College Fund for Students. So she was able to cover the cost of her hotel and gas and printing up her poster through support from the College of Arts and Sciences. So there is a true commitment to supporting students in their research endeavors. I know that Dr. Freeman is going to talk about the honors program. I just want to highlight one aspect that I truly enjoy, which is at the end of the year, we have an undergraduate research colloquium. And so that is where honor students can share their findings from their thesis or other projects, but really it's just a great celebration of all their hard work. It's really cool to see all these students come together and share in the work they've been doing for a year or more. And so I really love that opportunity. So I know that Dana is an honors student, so I want to throw it over to her, and can you talk about the honors program from the student side?
Hi everyone, I'm Dana. So just for the basics, the honors program, you do need to take minimum 18 credits of honors courses. It might sound like a lot, but it truly isn't. It's definitely achievable. So how it works is you would either take courses that are specifically honors courses, or you can contract one of your favorite courses and just sit down with your professor and ask them like, hey, I want to make this a course honors course, and then you just do an additional assignment. I am on the honors track. I absolutely love it. I think that contracting your favorite courses is such a good opportunity to just learn more about the subject. It allows you to get deeper into it and expand your knowledge on whatever you're learning. I think that it's definitely something that's achievable for everyone. It's not so much where it's like, oh, this is not something that I can attain, because 18 credits is only 6 courses. So you can get this done in 3 years of college. So a lot of people either start freshman year by contracting, or they'll wait till their sophomore year to get it done. I love it. The class sizes are a lot smaller. You get more like one-on-one time with your professors, and I think it's a great opportunity and a really big resume builder. So, yeah.
Thanks, Dana. And so I want to just pick up on something that Dana mentioned. Some students are initially hesitant to join the honors program, but you can try out the honors courses without committing to completing the program, so you can get a sense of the courses and the course load. And so that's just one way you can dip your toe into the honors program. I know I mentioned the preceptorship a little earlier. So it is one way that you can achieve that learning beyond the classroom requirement. So basically what happens is a faculty member will ask an advanced undergraduate student to serve as the preceptor in a first-year seminar course. So I taught colleges and crimes. I've asked Brianna to be my preceptor. And basically she serves as a role model for the other students in the class. She is my liaison, so she'll tell me stuff about what the students are having trouble with, and then, you know, I can address those issues of trying to target specific areas where we can improve. She was just great. So she attended class each session. She helped create discussion questions and facilitate discussion during class. She held her own office hours, and really, like, she would see things more quickly than I probably would. So she could see when someone was struggling, and then she would just let me know. So it was just a great experience for her, where she thrived in that position. It was a great experience for me, and I know it was a great experience for our first year students. Another thing that I think is a real positive aspect about our program is how we prepare students for their careers. So we, in all of our classes, are instilling different skills. So we, you know, in our core classes like research methods, you're going to get critical thinking skills. In other classes, we may focus on oral communication or written communication. Other classes are going to have independent projects versus collaborative projects. So we're going to try to target all of these skills that are marketable in any job that you want to pursue. We also have different programs available to our students. So there is a pre-law program where students will take, you know, several courses in their 4 years. It'll help them prepare their application packets for law school, preparing for the LSATs, so that they are just at the strongest candidate for law school. We have a paralegal certificate program. So some of my students have completed that just to get another perspective on criminal justice. We have different organizations, student-run organizations focused on professional development. So we have the Criminal Justice Club, there is a new cybersecurity club, and there is a Black Law Student organization, I think, yeah, Black Law Student Association that was just created. So they work on professional development and learning more about careers in criminal justice. We also offer a career development course. And Dana, I'm going to throw it back to you, because I think, are you in that course now, or have you previously taken that?
Yeah, so I am currently taking the career prep course. Basically what the course is just focused on people in your major. So it is a criminal justice, that's my major, career prep course. And you have your instructor for the course. You sit down every week and you meet with them and you talk about building your resume. Each week you like read how to make a resume, and then you start making it, and they just show you all the different types of careers that you can look into that are within your major. A lot of times first-year students will come into college knowing like, okay, I think I want to do something like this in the criminal justice field, but I'm not exactly sure what. So this class is really good for pointing you in that direction and helping you shape your resume to get you there. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think that is a positive aspect. And so we offer that course typically at least once a semester, so students can, practice on their resume, practice job talks, all of that kind of great skills that they'll need. So I also looked at recent placements. So I looked at our recent graduates from the last 3 years to see what type of careers that they're, starting off in. So definitely a large contingent of our students go on to careers in law enforcement at all different levels. So we had a great student, Taylor Rocco. She did multiple internships, but one of her internships was with the FBI. And I know that that's a lot of students' ideal internship. And she did a great job, so great that they asked her to apply for an open position, and now she's working for the FBI. She comes back and does presentations at the Career Center for us, talks to our majors about how to get into the FBI. So that has been a great, placement for us. We also have students that go on to the Connecticut State Police. We go local police departments like West Hartford and Hartford. Tyler Capo, who just graduated in the spring, just this past spring, is now working as a police officer in Keene, New Hampshire. So there's lots of different opportunities. We also have students that are working for our public safety department on campus. So they've graduated, they get hired by our public safety office, and then they're also pursuing their MBA on campus. So working full time, but also getting that advanced degree. Another large contingent of our students go on to law school and graduate programs. So I would say definitely a quarter of our students do this. They've been at UConn for family counseling, John Jay and University of New Haven for Masters in Criminal Justice, PhD programs. A student is at George Washington University, specializing in Homeland Security while working in DC. So there's lots of different opportunities there. And then we have students, that are going directly to work, sometimes directly into a criminal justice field and other times in a non-criminal justice field. So I took a look at some of the employers. We have people at Wheeler Clinic, Boys Town in Providence, Rhode Island, Connecticut Junior Republic, Community Partners in Action. This is located in Hartford, and they have a lot of internships available, and then a lot of those internships convert into jobs for our students. At the DOC, we have students that are working on the security side as correctional officers, as well as the programming side as counselors. Jessica Jorg was a standout student athlete, and she is working as an analyst at ING in the Netherlands, which I think is very, very cool. I want to visit her. And then some of our non-criminal justice pursuits. We have a Carly who is working in commercial property management in Chicago. Some students go on to work at different universities and different departments, admissions, event planning. There's a bunch of students at Connecticut Behavioral Health. So there's lots of different opportunities that students can pursue in their post-grad life. So I think that shows kind of like the wide perspective that we, and the foundation that we're giving our students to go anywhere. I want to talk about the curriculum, but at first I want to go back to Dana because she is immersed in the curriculum. She's taking our courses. And so besides the honors courses, do you want to share, your favorite criminal justice course, what you like about our program, all that kind of good stuff?
Okay, so I've taken a bunch of courses at this point. I love so many. I know my freshman year intro to criminal justice was such an amazing class. I had that with Professor Levchek. It just like introduces you into the major. You start learning about it. And also the forensic science class that I took was also really fun and interesting to do like more hands-on things and learn about different like ways that you can take the major. Also this year, I actually have classes with both Professor McGeever and Professor Tachera. I have deviance I love so much. We learned about like why like people get into the system and like what makes those behaviors deviant and how they're having that label of deviance like affects them further on. And also my juvenile delinquency class is really interesting. I learned about so many different things that I didn't know, like all of the status offenses and different things that juveniles often get into the system for, which leads to them getting like back into the system and coming back. So I really enjoy all of my criminal justice courses. I can say that in our department, a lot of the professors are willing to meet you halfway. So if you are really working hard and you're really enjoying the class and you need that extra help, all you have to do is reach out to them and they will give you that in return. So.
Thanks, Dana. She's an awesome student in my juvenile delinquency course, and I wish I had more students like Dana who really is, reading the book, taking what's in the book and applying it to life outside of campus is just great to see. What I like about our curriculum is that it's extremely easy to double major, so you can get, more for your resume, more for your career path, and just more perspectives. So definitely we see a lot of double majors with sociology, but it's also really easy to double major with psychology, with politics and government. And so there's a lot of crossover there. With minors, definitely I encourage students to complete a minor. So Dana has a Spanish minor. I've had students with communications minor, health sciences, accounting, things that you might not think, but you want to maybe pursue a little bit more in depth, and we can make that happen. Another thing that I really like about our department and university in general is the small class size, because I think that as professors, we get to know our students very well. So in a typical semester, my classes are usually no more than 20 students. So I'll teach 3 classes. Sometimes I'll have a class of 12, sometimes a class of 18. It does vary by semester, but usually, small class sizes. And the one thing that we really want to emphasize is our community connection. And so we try to highlight these community connections in different ways. So one way is to have guest lectures. So we have experts come into our courses and talk about their community leadership, their jobs. And so that's one way that we connect with the community. I know that Dr. DiChiara can definitely talk about this a little bit more. I brought in my corrections course, her name is Shannon Derby. She works at the DOC as a clinical counselor supervisor. And she came in and discussed, being a woman in a male-dominated field, in a male-dominated environment, such as a prison. She talked about her path into the Department of Corrections and how she's, gone up that ladder. So that was really great to hear. Another way that we try to forge these community connections is by having field trips. So you'll see a couple pictures from my corrections class. Each semester we go on a tour of the Hartford Correctional Center. It's the local regional jail. And we really get a behind the scenes tour. We meet with the warden, we see solitary confinement, we see the general population area. And I just think it's a good way. I can try to describe what it is like in a prison, but it really opens students' eyes when they can see it for themselves, they can hear the commotion, and it's just been a rewarding experience. We also take advantage of some actual national landmarks. So the very first Correctional Institute for Punishment is located in Granby, Connecticut, just a few miles down the road. And so we went, it was an old copper mine that got converted into a prison. So we visited, it's been fully restored. We went down into the mine shaft to see where the incarcerated resided. We saw the artifacts, and it was just, a great way to spend a fall day in Connecticut that was related to classes. And then another way that we try to have that community connection is by hiring adjuncts that have true expertise in what they're teaching. And so Chris Lyons teaches our street gangs class. He's a former Hartford police officer who was in charge of the anti-gang unit in that police department. Students love that course. We also have Michelle Clark and Penny Geyer, who have been employed with the Connecticut Medical Examiner's Office. So they have taught our forensic science course that's very popular. You get to analyze hair and blood splatter, fingerprints, all that kind of stuff. Michelle Clark teaches law and forensic evidence, and then Penny teaches a super popular course on serial killers. So different courses that are available to our students. One of our key components is students must take an internship. And so I want to throw it over to Al DiChiera, who has been our longtime internship director.
Hello, I can't see myself. Can you see me? I guess not. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, let me see if I can get this camera to work. It says my video should be working, but I don't see it. In any case, hi everyone. Internships are a crucial element in higher education. So we have not just the options of, I think there are a total of 4 in the department, 3 in the department. And then we have a number of courses called cooperative education that are becoming more and more popular. Students find this a great opportunity to work at home. In the summer, they can take up to 6 credits. And it's a contract system where the student will join with an agency and create a contract to do a particular kind of task or assignment and will work on that and can earn up to 6 credits in that experience. And you can do this 4 times. So there's a really enormous opportunity to get learning outside the classroom and to really be the kind of person who comes out of college not just with grades and a bunch of notebooks and things like that, but with a whole set of recommendations and people who can vouch for you, who are not just academics, but also are in the various fields that comprise criminal justice. So that is an important thing for us to push. And we have been very, very lucky to be in Hartford because it's a small city, it's the state capital, and nearly every single criminal justice agency is a short drive away in the city of Hartford. In addition, there are large numbers of nonprofit agencies that you can hook up with. Kelly mentioned the Connecticut Prison Association, Community Partners in Action. It used to be called Connecticut Prison Association, which is the oldest organization of its type in the country. And those are great opportunities there to work with offenders and people who are in the criminal justice system on their own. The point about classes and bringing in the community is an important thing to me. Before the pandemic, I was always bringing in people to my class who weren't experts in criminal justice, but were experts in crime. Because of my research, I had a lot of opportunities to meet criminal offenders. And I often bring them to my class to talk about, not talk about their lives and why they did bad things, but to look at what criminologists have to say about crime and see if it makes sense to them. So we have a lot of theories about crime, and do these theories ring true with these individuals who actually live these lives? And in many cases, we find out that the theories are kind of close, but not accurately overly predictive of what to expect. So life on the streets is very, very challenging, and it's very, very difficult. And to theorize about that requires some great skill. I would want to mention also about our adjunct, because we do have a logic to why we select who we select and how many we select. we try and find adjunct professors who are in relevant fields that we can address. So I kind of mentioned Chris Lyons, who I've known for nearly 30 years. I was doing my research on street gangs. I met Chris then, and he's done a great job for us. And he also knows every single gangbanger and every single gang-related law enforcement officer in the region. His class is dynamic and exciting. We have a woman in crime course that's taught by Lisa Cato, who works in probation. So she is able to bring to class a number of people who can address the issues of women in crime and particularly women in the criminal justice system. Cliff Thurmer teaches a course for us. Cliff is a former instructor at the State Police Training Academy. I think he was a lieutenant. And he teaches that course for us. So we try our best to find people who have the expertise to teach our students, but also are good teachers. So both Cliff and I think Lisa and another one of our adjuncts, Kim Myers, all have doctorates, and they also have great experience in the criminal justice system. So that is that component. I don't know how much more I could give on that, but I would want to say that we are sociologists in this department. We are primarily sociologists, and criminology and criminal justice is the birthplace of criminology. So we have a humanistic approach. We try and look at things from a social justice perspective, and we try and balance that off with the perspective of at least 2 police officers as our adjuncts. So I hope that you can hear me, and I can respond to any questions now, or I can toss it over back to Kelly.
Thanks, Al. Yeah, so we're going to save the questions towards the end, but that really helps shed some light on the internships. One thing I just add is because of our location by the state capitol, we have, close networks with those state agencies, so that provides more opportunities for our students. And then one last thing that I just want to highlight is I really love advising. So all of our faculty members are advisors for our criminal justice and sociology majors. And it's not just, this is the courses that you need to take to graduate. It's also, I want to serve as a resource for my students. So when we pivoted to online because of COVID last semester, they could reach out to me if they were struggling with technology or just kind of the transition. If they're having roommate issues, they feel comfortable coming to us, and so that we can connect them to Res Life or whatever, program on campus that would be best to deal with those situations. So advising is great. I try to stay in touch with all of my advisees even after they graduate because I love to see all their success stories. So it's just a really rewarding experience. So I'm going to shift over to the sociology side, and Dr. Amanda Freeman's going to take over, and her student as well.
Hello, can you all see me? Yeah. Taya, are you here?
Hello.
I am here.
Okay, great. I'll come to you later. I just wanted to make sure that we had you here. This is our sociology major, Taya Morin-Scotta, who's going to help later. You can all still see the slide also, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll try not to do too much repeating, and I think I'm going to start upside down just to shake things up a little bit. But I'm basically going to tell you about being a sociology major, and then you can get the perspective of a student who is a sociology major. Just a little bit about myself first. I think, we all teach in our areas of interest. So my research basically focuses on inequality and gender. I look at the experiences of low-income families in the United States, and at University of Hartford, I teach Introduction to Sociology, Inequality, a course on motherhood, Sociology of the Family, and some on social policy in the family. I'm gonna try to convince you that sociology is a great thing to major in. We offer a range of courses from courses in social movements to courses in the sociology of race, immigration, popular culture, just to name a few. We are a small department, so if there's something that you would like to study that we don't specifically offer, you can always do, we call it a readings and research course. So that's where you would be individually studying with a professor. You would come up with a reading list, times to discuss, and what you would be working on as a paper or project. I had a student last year who wanted to study, for instance, the evolution of interracial marriage in the United States. We didn't have anything specifically on that topic, so we did do an R&R together to study that. I also teach a class in the Sociology of Motherhood, and basically, sociology is interdisciplinary. So we're drawing from psychology, we're drawing from English literature, public policy, looking specifically at how the experience of motherhood varies across race and class. And I can't remember actually if Taya took that class or not, but I've worked with students, especially in the context of that class, to record oral histories and do interviews with mothers in their lives. So maybe their mother or friends or aunts. We actually wound up finding that it was helpful to have students interview other mothers, if that makes sense, because sometimes I think the experience of your own mother is maybe not as exciting or interesting to you because you're too close to it. And that's a situation where one of the students in the class was able to get that same Dean's Fund, so university research funding, to work and help to create a database for those interviews. And so that's still a work in progress, but something students were really engaged in and interested in. So basically, I would say that sociology is, gives you a basic liberal arts education. It really opens a lot of doors. And then, through the internships, like Kelly and Al were talking about, you can get that professional experience and try out any range of different careers. In terms of the courses specifically, the curriculum that you would be required to take as a sociology major, or as a double major, because as Kelly said, it's a fairly easy thing to do. You can wind up, a major and a minor, or two majors. I mean, there are some students who actually go back and get another bachelor's degree. So depending on your time and, what is important to you to study, it's possible to get two majors, so to be a double major. So we're a good department to do double majors in. As Kelly said, we're a good department to integrate study abroad. Almost all colleges abroad have sociology departments with these core classes. So they would count back and keep you on track at the University of Hartford if you wanted to do that. So basically, I'm not going to go through all the courses, but the core classes in sociology would be that introduction to sociology. As Kelly mentioned, the research methods course to give you an overview of research methods. That's something that the sociology major and the criminal justice major share. Then you would take a class in sociological theory, social statistics, and then the Internship Practicum. So I teach the Internship Practicum, or it's also called the Senior Capstone Seminar. So I can talk about that a little bit right now. So basically, as Al said, that you could have a multitude of internship experiences while you're at the University of Hartford. If you wanted to try on different careers, if you wanted to try working in different agencies, you could do that. Throughout your 4 years, you could spend one semester here and then take a year off and then another. But it depends really on the time you have as a student. I mean, some students are athletes, or you're working in community organizations, or you're involved in student government, or you have a part-time job that takes up a lot of time. So regardless of timing, in sociology, you're required to do at least one internship, and that would be during your senior year. And you would also have to take the accompanying seminar. So basically, the seminar tries to get you to connect sort of what you've been learning as a sociology major, during these 4 years with a real world setting. And you're going to come up with a culminating research paper in the end. which lots of students use either to apply to graduate school or as a professional sample. For us, when you're choosing your internship, you know it's a 100-hour commitment over the course of the semester. Lots of students continue on work in the summer. They get job offers from that internship, but that's the minimum required. And just as a side note, I think this has been mentioned, but because of COVID and the pandemic going on, internships look a little bit different this semester. But we are still getting our students out there to get some experiences and to write and process about them. So just to give you an idea, I had a list of where we've had interns placed before. Several of them have worked in law offices, one in a lobbying firm in downtown Hartford. A few students worked as 4 members of the Department of Education, for school boards, also in school as tutors or teachers' aides, in after-school centers, for different nonprofit organizations, including the Boys and Girls Club, Habitat for Humanity, the Urban League, and the United Way. I had a student work in human resources because she was interested in checking out what that career might be like. And then also several students interested in mental health counseling and social work. And we do have crossover. We have lots of double majors, so certainly students working in prisons also. So basically, the students take notes about their internship experiences. We discuss and process them in class. And then they decide what they're interested in doing kind of academic research in terms of connecting the two. So just to give an example, a student, the seminar meets once a week, and we're kind of processing all these different things that they're observing. So a student that was interning with the Board of Education wound up writing a paper about the disconnect between parents and administrators. And basically, it was really evident to her in attending those meetings that, for instance, the language barrier was really creating problems in terms of parents getting information and advocating for their kids to the administrators and the school board. So she wanted to really explore and look for ways to better serve the students in the community in the context of our class and in the context of sociology. So that's just an idea of a paper that might come out of that internship seminar. After graduation, we see sociology students, very similar to criminal justice, going into a really wide range of fields. So we always have students graduate and go to graduate school in law. We have that really strong pre-law program, in education, in social work. And we also have students working as paralegals, working in lobbying firms. That was actually a position that came out of the internship. As teachers in private schools, in human resources, and in marketing. So, there's a real demand for looking at especially social media and other kinds of marketing trends. And we also see students more and more going into careers in research. So, for health and human services, there are lots of opportunities at different levels of government. In terms of advising students when they declare a sociology major, like was said before, we're a small shop. We really work to help them pursue their interests, whatever they are. And we try to give them as much personalized attention as possible. So I think Dana did a really good job talking about the honors program. The only thing I wanted to mention also was, you would have a faculty advisor if you were going to write a thesis within the honors program. Last year, I worked with a student who was looking at impacts of environmental racism in the state of Connecticut. So basically looking at income levels of different parts of the state and comparing with environmental outcomes and variables. And, we all work together. So he actually was working with the Center for Social Research, also on some of those statistics and outcomes, looking at, increased air pollutants, cases of childhood asthma, and siting of waste dumps in low-income neighborhoods. So some really interesting stuff that came out of that. And that student is working as a paralegal now, considering law school. So I think now I want to turn over to Taya and kind of get her perspective as a current sociology major. She's also about to graduate, right? So she is currently in her internship. But maybe you could take us back, Taya, a little bit and tell us what drew you into sociology, what got you interested in majoring in sociology?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I really enjoy well, I don't enjoy social issues, but I enjoy like learning about them and the ways in which like they can be dismantled, especially from an individual level. So what really drew me into it was like experiencing a lot of disenfranchisement within my own life. I wanted to like try and just help communities at a macro level. So yeah, sociology works a lot with like social issues and like why they exist and the ways in which like we contribute to them, as well as like how you can help not do that. So yeah, that's really why I was into it.
And then, so Taya worked with me as a teaching assistant in race, class, and gender and reality TV, which is an interdisciplinary course that is offered mostly to first year students. So do you want to talk a little bit about that experience, Taya?
Yeah, so I was TA for Professor Freenan, and part of being a TA is you like attend the class and you like answer students' questions as well as like emails, and you just assist the professor throughout the entire semester. I also taught a chapter for a day, and it's really, really cool. I strongly suggest that everyone like attempts, if you get the opportunity to be a TA, that you should take it. Not only does it help you like build a relationship with your professor, but like we all know that idea that like you don't really know something until you teach it. So it really helped me like not feel burnt out within my major, which I think is a super undervalued aspect of TAing, because like with any major, you're taking a lot of similar classes, but it helps flip the perspective because you're helping teach the things that you've been learning the entire semester or however many years that you've been within this major. So yeah, it was really, really fun.
Yes, that's great. And then do you just want to lastly talk a little bit about, I know you're at the very beginning of it, but you're about to embark on this internship journey. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm interning within the school. So they have like internship opportunities outside of school as well as inside. So I'm interning for the Women's Lead Center at the school, and I'm helping like collect oral histories of like women from like Hartford Women College for Women. I'm like writing a report. I'm working directly with the director at the school, Amy Barzak, to like collect their histories, upload them to the Library of Congress, as well as just like the impacts these women have. And I'm also helping organize a 50th anniversary reunion for all of the women who graduated in the 1970s, which is super exciting. This is my first internship, which is a little nerve-wracking, but still very, very exciting. And yeah, it's really helping me push my boundaries for like things like I've never like organized a reunion before, or like collected oral history. So it's like super duper exciting because it's like forcing me to like actually use my major in like a real world circumstance. So yeah.
Thank you so much. That was great. I think that's all I have for sociology. And of course, I'll take any questions people have when we get to the end.
Okay, so Al, I just want you to wrap up, and then we'll do a quick Q&A. So I don't want to, skip over this because I think this is very important. So Al, do you want to talk about social justice in our majors?
Hello, I'm speaking again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. The tide of history is changing, and we are aware of that. And so we are very, very concerned that our students understand that crime control creates one of the most serious challenges to people's lives and people's well-being, and how they can better themselves in this world. So we try to teach our courses from the perspective that we live in a globalized society and that our life chances are significantly affected by the forces of globalization. We are interested in looking at social change and how changing ideas of how government is funded and how government should work makes it more or less difficult for people to survive in this world. We have in Hartford one of the most highly surveilled communities in the region. Cameras everywhere, sound detectors everywhere. Students are monitored in school at all levels. And this kind of control in a world that is shrinking in terms of opportunities and in terms of certain types of expressions of freedom is challenging. And we want our students to realize that there is a force, a social force that is part of our lives that unless we understand it, we have a tendency to get lost. Our program, I think all our faculty members are committed to social justice in America. We're not interested in training people how to become police officers. We're interested in giving students who want to become police officers an insight into the world that is more meaningful and more in-depth than perhaps just chasing down bad guys or enforcing the law. We believe that if you do want to be a police officer, you are best trained as a police officer in a police academy. So to the extent that we don't teach you how to be a cop, we can teach you how to be more humanistic as a police officer. The point of our curriculum is always to help our students situate themselves in the world, to understand how the world is changing and to understand how they can adjust their lives and their expectations to those changes. I tell my students that living in a complex, multicultural, globalized world like us is like riding on a surfboard. You are constantly measuring where the wave is breaking and where it's changing and where your weight needs to be shifted to. And that nimbleness of your feet and your body should be reflected in the nimbleness of your mind to be able to understand how you are being affected by these changes in our society. Our program has a significant focus on race and gender and social class. These are the major demographic categories that impact in sociology and in criminal justice. We also understand that the role of public safety is changing. We talk about in the public discourse now defunding the police. What we are doing is actually reimagining the police. We're trying to make the police officer's job more focused on crime and on injustice in the community caused by crime, and allow other agencies and other experts to deal with homelessness and poverty and mental illness, things that are intimately related to crime and which police officers are ill-equipped in many ways to deal with. So that is the guiding principles behind our program. And that is something I think is really, really a forward-thinking approach by us. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Kelly, are there questions for us?
Let's see. At the moment, I don't see any questions, but I think one of my favorite questions to ask our ambassadors would be if you could share with us why you chose to come to the University of Hartford. Dana, if you want to go first.
Hi, sorry, I switched locations. But I chose to come to the University of Hartford because of the different opportunities that I saw our school offered. I really like that we have to do an internship with our program. I know a lot of schools, it's not always something that you actually get help work to actually do an internship while you're in college. So I think that's a great opportunity for all criminal justice and sociology students. And I just also I don't know, I like the environment here. I liked the people. So it was just my top school for me.
And Taya, if you're able to share with us why you chose to come to University of Hartford.
This might be a little bit more discouraging than Dana's. For financial reasons, could only apply for in-state schools. But I really like the campus a lot, as well as I knew a couple people who went here, and every time I visited here, it just seemed really fun and really cool. I also preferred that it's like a bit of a smaller school. I also like toured UConn, and the size of the campus and the size of the classrooms was like overwhelming. So yeah, I really like the intimacy almost that UHeart provide. But yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. And I think one of the questions that I'd like to ask all of our panelists is if you could give a piece of advice to a student thinking about coming to the University of Hartford, what would that be? Dr. Freeman, how about if we start with you?
Sorry, my dog was barking, unrelated. Advice to a student coming to the University of Hartford. I would say, and actually I went through this a little bit with Taya, my student that's on here, to just really jump in and get involved in things. And if you're unsure about your major, realize that that's okay, especially in the beginning, because you're going to be knocking out a lot of general education requirements. And I would say, try on different majors, take different classes, even try out an internship and really see where your interests are. And we've all been saying, you can actually have varied interests and pursue both of them. We have plenty of people that major in something like criminal justice and psychology. So don't feel like you have to absolutely decide everything before you choose a school. I think the school can be a good fit, and it's a journey, and you're free to decide along the way.
And let's see, Al, how about you?
I would say to the students thinking about coming here, use your imagination, open new doors, challenge ideas, be ready to change.
And Dr. McGeever?
I mean, those were two really great answers, but my answer would be connect with faculty. I think that we are here for you in the classroom and outside of the classroom. So stop by office hours, be interested in our research if you're interested in that, and come talk to us because we would love to interact.
And Dana, how about you?
I would definitely say use your resources. We have so many things available and accessible for students that a lot of people just kind of let go, but there's so many things that are available to us on campus. So just make sure you network and get to know your professors so that you're able to use those resources.
And Taya?
I'm also gonna have to agree with Dana that there's a lot of different resources and helpful things at the school, like that I think not a lot of people tend to utilize. There's also a lot of really cool clubs and a lot of things that can help like broaden your horizons and challenge you in ways that you've never been challenged before. So yeah, just like put yourself out there. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you all for joining us. Oh, let me bring myself back up. Thank you all for joining us today. If you don't have any other questions, then I would like to take a moment to thank all of our panelists for joining us. This call was recorded, so if you want to hear and see all of us again, you can definitely do that. This will be available through the admission office in a few days. Also, if you have any questions after today regarding admission or financial aid, you can visit the admission website. On the right-hand side, there is a little tab that says Ask Us. Click on that tab and you can speak with a representative live Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30. And we do have webinars continuing the remainder of this week. So definitely go to the admission website, check out the list of events. A lot of the programs are having their own specific webinars, so take a look and sign up. And thank you again for joining us, and good luck with the rest of your school year. Thank you, everybody.